What you are about to watch is a compilation of every time I was wrong in my Week 1 predictions video. So I hope you enjoy.
Literally, the Bengals have one of the best offenses, if not the best offense in the NFL. Last year, they had no offensive line and somehow made it to the Super Bowl. This year, upgraded offensive line.
First down, Burrow avoids the sack initially, and 5. Burrow, deep drop. Burrow hit as he throws, popped up in the air and intercepted. Burrow steps up, and he's dumped.
Joe Burrow's going to be back better than ever.
Into Orchard Park and getting the win. Burrow fires, intercepted, picked off at a pick six. Micah Fitzpatrick. Burrow, step, fire, bobble, intercepted. Season opener, and the Steelers outlast the Bengals in overtime.
Trey Lance, I think, has so much potential. He could pull off a season similar to, Patrick Mahomes, a second-year, dominant season.
On 3rd and 5, Lance gets intercepted by Eddie Jackson.
Come on, Baker. You got to pull this one out. He will do anything in his power to win this game.
3rd and 10. Mayfield's pass intercepted to try to win the game. The kick. Oh, look at this. The distance. And Cade York wins it for Cleveland.
I don't know. Just a gut feeling I'm giving this to the Cowboys. Because most of these games, like this one, is super obvious. Of course I'm giving this to the Broncos.
I went 8-8 in my predictions video last week. That is absolutely terrible. So we'll see if we can do better this week. I got a lot wrong, so see if we can do better. But this video is going to come out after Thursday Night Football, but I'm recording it before. I really expect this game, Chargers-Chiefs, to be an amazing one. So it'll be interesting to watch. Hopefully the game does turn out to meet my expectations. I'm going to give this one to the Chiefs, though. I think both teams are absolutely legit. Last week, the Chargers had a great win over the Raiders. Although it was really close, the Chargers were clearly the better team throughout the game, and the Chiefs were absolutely dominant in a huge win against the Cardinals. So most of this video is going to be about my takeaways from Week 1 and what I expect for Week 2. So who I think is going to bounce back, repeat their success from last week, or fail this week. So yeah, we'll be talking more about that. But here's a team that I don't think is going to match the success of last week. The Steelers, they obviously beat the Bengals off of a lot of turnovers, and they still somehow only won by 3. Again, I stand by my word. I still don't trust Mitchell Trubisky, and I don't necessarily trust Mac Jones that much either. But I'm going to give this one to the Patriots. I don't see them starting off the season 0-2. So, let's move on here. Colts versus Jaguars. Again, we're trying to get through this video a little bit faster because Thursday Night Football is on really soon, and I don't have much time before Sunday even. So, we're trying to get through this a little bit faster, but, I'm sure you guys would rather see a shorter video, right? That's just what I think. But let's move on here before I ramble on for too long. Colts versus Jaguars. I expect the Colts to bounce back from, well, I guess they tied. I thought they lost, but from their tie, which sounds so weird to say, but it was against the Texans, so definitely a game we expected them to win, but they came back. Of course, they were in a deficit, but they came back and ended up tying it, so good job, I guess. I don't know. But the Jaguars, I don't expect them to be great unless Trevor Lawrence takes that next step, which right now it seems like he might not take. So let's keep this moving here. Jets versus Browns. I don't think too many of you guys care about this. I can't lie, but I'm going to give this to the Browns. Jacoby Brissett played all right, played good enough. But that backfield of the Cleveland Browns is probably one of the best in the NFL. Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb are absolute beasts. And I expect them to repeat the success, at least for a few more games this season. Of course, it's hard for running backs to really be consistent, but we got to give this to the Browns. I think that they're clearly a better team than the Jets. The Browns got that huge win last week against the Panthers, and the Jets lost to the Ravens. So, we expected them to lose, but yeah, I don't expect them to get much better with Joe Flacco as their quarterback. But let's move on. Here we do have the Ravens here matching up against the Dolphins. I think this is actually going to be a great game. I think it's going to be pretty close, but I'm going to give it to the Ravens. I just trust their quarterback more. At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. The Dolphins had a great win against the Patriots last week, and the Ravens had an easy win against the Jets, where Lamar Jackson didn't really have to run the ball that much. But the Dolphins, Tua played all right, but not as well as, I guess not as well as I really want him to play throughout the season, but he had some good passes. So hopefully Tua can play decent, and hopefully Lamar can repeat his success. So, okay, if the Broncos don't win this, you might as well give up. The Broncos better win this. They lost to the Seahawks somehow, and I was super confident that they would win. This is the one that I was most confident about, but I guess I was wrong. So the Texans last week, they had a tie against the Colts. I mean, I don't expect them to do as good this week, so I'm going to give that to the Broncos. All right, Titans versus Bills. I think the Bills, at the end of the day, it comes down to whichever quarterback is better, and I absolutely love Josh Allen, so I think he's obviously one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and the Bills are such a strong team, so yeah, I got to have them over the Titans. The Titans obviously had that heartbreaking loss to the Giants last week, and the Bills had a commanding win over the LA Rams. So, yeah, these two teams are in completely different situations, and hopefully the Titans can bounce back, but got to give this one to the Bills. Cardinals versus Raiders. I'm going to give this to the Raiders. There's a few really interesting games on the schedule for this week. Like, this is really interesting. I mean, hopefully the Cardinals can bounce back. They put up 21 points against the Chiefs, but their offense was a lot worse than what the numbers said, because a lot of their points came like in the fourth quarter when Patrick Mahomes was not even playing. So, yeah, I got to give this one to the Raiders. Devontae Adams was a stud in week 1. Derek Carr, as long as he doesn't throw 3 interceptions, I think the Raiders are going to be okay. All right, next we got the Bengals versus the Cowboys. Man, I really said the Cowboys were going to beat the Bucs, and then everything that could have went wrong literally went wrong. Dak Prescott got hurt. They played an absolutely terrible game. Hopefully Dak can come back. Hopefully they don't rush him coming back, because I don't see them being a playoff contender anyway. So, man, it's just tough as a Cowboys fan to watch this. Hopefully they can be all right. Maybe they can steal this one. I don't know. Hopefully they can be all right. Maybe when Dak comes back, they'll be in playoff contention. Hopefully, maybe. I don't know. That NFC East, every team won their game except for the Cowboys last week. So, yeah, that's tough. But the Bengals, Joe Burrow, he had a terrible game against the Steelers, and somehow they still had a chance to win. Of course they didn't, but they were so close. They were a missed field goal away from winning, or a missed extra point away, actually, from winning that game. That was an absolute thriller. There were so many insane moments in that game. If you didn't watch that, definitely go check out the highlights. It was an absolute insane game. You did not want to miss it. If you watched it live, wow. That was one of the best games I've ever seen, especially like the end of the fourth quarter and overtime. But, of course, the Bengals were not able to pull it out, mostly because of Joe Burrow's mistakes through the first 2 to 3 quarters. But I think this week they'll get a pretty easy dub against the Cowboys. If they lose this week, there might be a little bit of concern, but let's hope they don't. All right. Buccaneers versus Saints. Got to give this to the Bucs. The Saints played an interesting game last week, but they ended up coming back. They were down a lot to the Falcons, who somehow were still able to blow leads even without Matt Ryan. But the Saints came back, and they ended up winning. So good win for the Saints. But yeah, I got to give this one to the Buccaneers. Tom Brady, he was okay in Sunday Night Football, but he really didn't have to be that good because the defense was amazing. And yeah, this is going to be an easy win for the Bucs, I think. So next, the Panthers and the Giants. All right. This is interesting. I'm going to give it to the Panthers. I gave them the win last week. I was so confident the Panthers would steal it, but no. So this week, I hope Baker Mayfield can come back, play all right, and get the dub for him. The Giants, of course, that amazing win against the Titans. Maybe they can keep it going if Saquon Barkley can continue to play well, but I've got to give this to the Panthers. Washington versus the Lions. I think the Lions are actually a pretty decent offensive team. Probably one of the more underrated offensive teams. Their receiving corps is pretty solid. Jared Goff, he's not amazing, but he gets the job done. And of course, DeAndre Swift is an absolute stud. I expect him to just continue to get better throughout the season. Last week was amazing for him. And Washington did get the dub against the Jaguars, but I don't think they're going to be able to beat the Lions. So Washington to start off the season, got 2 teams that aren't that good. Maybe they can win both of them. But we'll see. I'm going to give this to the Lions, though. I don't think it'll be too close, but I think it'll be somewhat close. Carson Wentz was pretty decent last week. Actually, he was pretty good last week. What am I talking about? Carson Wentz was great last week. I don't expect him to repeat that, but hopefully he does. All right, Falcons, Rams. I feel like the Falcons, man, they really blew a lead to the Saints without Matt Ryan. At this point, the jokes are just going to go crazy, but anyway, got to give that one to the Rams. Hopefully they get it figured out, get themselves going down the right path for the rest of the season. Last week was obviously a terrible loss for them, and the Falcons, we already talked about them. So, hopefully the Rams can get it done, man. All right, Seahawks versus 49ers. If the Seahawks win this with Geno Smith, I feel like everybody would go crazy. And this, it's gonna be tough to pick, man. I feel like it might be super low scoring, but I'm gonna give it to the 49ers. Trey Lance, hopefully I'm not wrong when I said that he was gonna be a stud. Hopefully he still turns out to be okay. So I'm gonna keep picking the 49ers until I'm right. All right. Let's go to Bears versus Packers here. I don't think the Bears are going to repeat the success that they had last week against the 49ers, especially late in the game. Justin Fields was able to mount the comeback. Of course, he had the slide. That was so cool to see at the end of the game. It was really cool to see. But this one, I'm gonna give it to the Packers. Hopefully, they come back and are able to bounce back from the absolute terrible outing they had last week against the Vikings, who, by the way, are here. Monday Night Football. We got the Vikings and the Eagles. It's going to be a good one, okay? This one is going to be a great game, but I'm going to give it to... this is tough. I'm going to give it to the Vikings, just because I think Justin Jefferson's an absolute stud. A.J. Brown is also a stud. Hopefully both of them have big games. It'll definitely be entertaining to watch. Jalen Hurts and Kirk Cousins, Jalen, they played a lot differently, but I do trust Kirk Cousins a little bit more as a passer, so I'm going to give that to the Vikings. So, if any of these are questionable, you guys let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content. Sorry if this video felt a little bit rushed. I definitely spoke really fast. But somehow it felt really short, but it's a 10-minute video somehow. But that's going to do it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Peace out.